Elaine. Commissioner, I'm just going to ask some initial questions about some facts and figures about the factual background to what happened at Coolock. Could I preface those remarks just by saying that it's quite clear that members of the Garda Síochána displayed conspicuous courage and dedication during the events at Coolock, and obviously a number of them were injured, and it's important, I think, for the authority to acknowledge that at the beginning of this session. And obviously we wish those injured a speedy recovery. In that context, can you provide an update on the number and extent of the injuries to members?
Well, at this moment in time, we've reports of 3 members being injured, and the worst injury being a member who had to receive hospital treatment after being struck by a stone. 2 other members were also injured, and this was on Friday evening, and they did not require medical attention in hospital. So overall, Garda members did face assault and assault through the use of various projectiles, and it was a very dangerous and difficult situation that they faced. And as you say yourself, they faced that with great courage and fortitude, and dealt with it, I think, in a very professional way.
Okay, thank you. And is it correct to say that there were numbers of very newly attested members at the scene?
There was on the Monday morning. So if I might run through a little of the timeline.
Sure.
So on the 15th of July, the contractor wished to move on to the premises. They moved on to the premises in the early hours of the morning, between 3 and 4 in the morning. There was a policing operation to facilitate that. That went off without incident, and the resources that had been in effect stood up for that, which included public order resource, were then stood down at approximately 7 a.m. Further protests then happened from around 8:15 a.m. on the Monday the 15th. With protesters arriving, and really then from about 10 o'clock, the situation started to turn ugly and deteriorate. And that's then, at that stage then, between damage incidents, the injury then to a member of the security staff on premises, and then obviously the burning of mattresses and a digger vehicle, then it was clear then that there was a disorder situation. And then we obviously then put out the requirement then for public order. It was very clear that this was becoming a public order incident, and potentially a very serious one. But in that interim period then, Garda resources really from all over the city deployed to that, so that were the members who were on duty and available to deploy did deploy to that. And that's the individuals that you see in normal uniform, and they were there really right up until the full deployment of the public order unit, and also stayed then beyond that to assist in dealing with the arrests and dealing with those protesters who weren't engaged in disorder but were there for the purpose of protest only. So amongst those were individuals who had just recently attested, and I met 4 of them the next morning at Coolock Station. And so there was a mixture in service. There was obviously rank there in terms of sergeants and an inspector on the ground during that morning stage.
And specifically in terms of the newly attested members, is there support that, I mean, you mentioned that you met 4 of them subsequently, but is there support that is offered to them in the days afterwards?
Well, just following through from the feedback that we've already talked about in private sessions of your own work that you've done around public order. Yes, like we made it a priority that sufficient support is put in place to support all members after these incidents, not necessarily just those who are most junior in service. And so that's done and is done on an ongoing basis in respect of both the public order, but also then the patrol members who attended in the morning as well.
Okay, and just on the timeline, for my own clarity, you talked about I think the call going out for members to come from across Dublin at around about 10 a.m. And you said that then remained the case until the full deployment of the public order unit. What time did the public order unit deploy at?
The public order unit was arriving on site at Coolock Station from 12 o'clock, and I physically saw them there at 12. There wasn't the full unit. At 1 o'clock, 6 public order serials, so in effect 2 full public order units were deployed on Malahide Road. So, and at that time there were about 100 protesters at scene, and some of them were engaged in serious disorder.
And 2 public order units equals how many guards?
60? 50. 50, sorry, 50.
All right, thank you. In terms of arrests at the scene, do you have up-to-date figures in relation to that, either at the scene or since the incident?